Okay, guys, yeah, we're at the lake, and as you can see, it's empty, and there's like no one. Well, there was no one in this parking lot. Usually, you'll have a couple of boats here, but it's totally empty, and except this one car just pulled up. But that's okay. Anyway, you could see what the title says: 1250, my old 1250 versus my new 1300. And I didn't really plan to do this, so it's not going to be like this expert comparing, or doing a chart or anything like that. It's just something that I was just kind of riding down the road, and I said, what the heck? Let me do a comparison. It's cold. It's 40 degrees out, but I like riding. We just got rid of some of the snow. I don't know if you guys can see a little bit of it, but there's not much any left on the ground. A little bit over in the foreground there, but there's not much snow left. Some of the roads you got to be careful on, but most of it they're pretty good. I just wanted to ride. So let's get to it. Comparing my 1250 to my 1300. And I guess the first thing we got to compare is the looks, right? And that, guys, is totally subjective. I know the old timers, oh guys, and maybe the new guys, the young guys too, but the older guys, they just say it's not a 12, it's not a GS anymore. It's, some guys comparing it. Some guys said it looks like a V-Strom. And, to me, it's just an evolution. Old guys don't like change. I'm an old guy, but I realize change is inevitable. If I had my ways, I'd like to get rid of cell phones, YouTube, that'd never be on here, but all that, and just go back to the 70s and 80s and 90s where there was no internet, and it's just a simpler time. But we can't go back where, this is what it is. So everything evolves. And I know the style is a total, I mean, from here to here, guys, it's not that much difference. For me, it looks like a GS. All right, the back is a lot different because, you don't have the trellis frame anymore and anything. It's all like one piece now. But I don't see that. It's still got a beak and a screen and the wide bars. I don't see it being dramatic, but some guys are really dramatic about it. Just think about this. In 1978, from the research I've done, the 80 GS came out. So what did the guys think, of the guys that owned the 80s when the 100 came out? Oh, come on, this is not a GS. And then when I think the new 1150, 1100s came out, that was probably a dramatic change. Were those guys upset about the 100 guys and the 80 guys? Oh, that's not a GS anymore, the 1150, the 1100s. And then the 1200s came out. Now the 1200s were, and the 1250s are very similar, and they're around for almost, 20 years, 19 years. And so those guys, what did they think? What did the 1150 guys? I know it's kind of confusing. The 1100, 1150 guys think about the 1200 and 1250 guys. Oh, that's not a GS anymore. Whatever. And now we're on the 1300s, and the 1250 guys, and there's a lot of them. Maybe because it's a 20-year span, there's a lot of them that do not like this style. It says it has no soul. It's not the same anymore. And it goes on, and in 20 years or 10 years from now, the people are going to be saying the same thing when the 1400 comes out or whatever model they call it, and they're going to say, well, it's not like an old GS. Things evolve, guys, and that's just the way it is. I mean, you got to accept it, and I accept it. I'm just not going to fight it, and it's just, I don't know. So let's get back to the comparison again. As far as the styling, it's subjective. I like the bike. I like the way it looks. There's only one thing on the bike I don't like, and it's the radar cover. But I like the light. I just like it all. I think it's cool. I just like the whole bike. So let's get to maybe comfort. I'm going to kind of do this top of my head. Comfort, the seat is absolutely firmer. It's no doubt about it, but I don't find it uncomfortable at all. The 1250 seat was softer, but this, I mean, I've been on this thing for hours and hours, and I don't find any discomfort in the seat whatsoever. The comfort wise, ergonomic wise, I know we'll go jump with that. The bars are kind of the same. Some guys say that the your triangle or whatever where your feet is more sportier, but I don't find any difference. When I sat on my 1250 at the shop at the dealer when I was getting this bike, just to see because people were saying it, I didn't notice any difference. And guys, real quick, I did get some pegs. Finally got my Motex coming in, so that's kind of neat. Got my new pegs on it. Nice look there, and they're a little bit more comfy. So I don't find that ergonomics that much different. I know that you felt like you sit more in the bike because the fiberglass or the plastic panels were higher. So but I don't know. I don't think it's a dramatic deal. Same type of dash, guys. I put this on, little cover, or maybe I don't know if I told you I put this on or not, but I can't remember. So yeah, so I don't find that the mirror placement, the wind protection, I think is similar, very similar. You have a little bit more or less hitting your elbows because of these, um, uh, you know, uh, air deflectors. So, that's a little bit different. But overall, comfort, everything, ergonomics, everything is kind of the same to me. I don't see it much different. Ride and handling, ride is superb. Handling is superb on both. I didn't see a major difference. Some guys say, but my skill level. I mean, how much more am I going to push the bike? But I felt them both being both being really agile bikes. I mean, very easy to maneuver, very light feeling and everything like that. Easy to push around. Some guys complain about how it's hard to get off the I think this is a piece of cake to just move around and everything. I always thought the 1250s and 1300s were 550-pound bike, 530-pound bike, whatever they claim it to be. I know they're pretty close. That's not a heavy bike. Heavy bike is 800. Like my brother's 950-pound Roadmaster. That's a heavy bike. This is not a heavy bike. But let's so I don't see that the ride that much different. Now, what's different on this bike, which is so much better, is not so much better, is the adjustments on the shock. You have 5 different settings for road and 5 different settings on the shock for dynamic. You have to go really into the menu, but once you program it, you can just click it on and on. You can go to road or dynamic, where you didn't have that that type of adjustment on the 1250. So that's a major plus, and I can feel it when I put this thing in dynamic and move it to +2. It's a firm ride. You can really get sporty with it. But I normally keep mine in road. I think +1 in road. So and that's kind of I like that. It's a good comfort but good handling. So I don't know. I think that's where the GS excels. It's got a more a better suspension for tuning. I think it's better now. What else is power-wise? I mean, it's a no-brainer. This is a faster bike. 0 to 60, they're about the same, the 1250, but the 1300 just pulls it. And the 1300 has a much more, you can gain a lot more from the tune and just from putting some, a header on and filters, high-flow filters and some velocity stacks. You can get almost 160 at the rear wheel. That's pretty impressive. You can't do that with the 1250. And then I think the exhaust is better looking on here, but it doesn't really sound that good. Even I put that servo eliminator in there. It keeps the valve open all the time, but it's a little bit, has a little bit more grunt sounding to it, but it's not that good. It's because the converter, the reason the silencer is smaller is because the catalytic converter and the muffler are one underneath that big old, I don't know if I'm sure you guys can pick it up and seen it before. It's just a big bread box. So I'm going to put a header on it so I can get some sound out of it. But man, those headers have turned, haven't they? They almost look like they're rusted, but they're not, guys. They're just gold and yellowish and bluish and whatever. I don't need this purpose of making that header chrome. They should have just left it stainless. Anyway, so maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. But so I think aesthetically it looks good with the exhaust and stuff like that. Power screen is nice. If I had to, if I hadn't sold my 1250, which I regret selling my 1250, would have I upgraded? I don't know. I don't know if I would upgrade it. I probably wouldn't because I have, my FZ1, which is very sporty and it's high powered, and I have the Street Triple, which is it's just a fun all around bike. I love the Street Triple, so I probably wouldn't have upgraded. But if I didn't have any bike and I just had the 1250 and I wanted something a little bit more sporty because the power really enticed me. I wish it was more, but now that I found out you can get it, really benefits from a tune. I probably would have traded up if I just had the 1250 and no other bike. But if I don't know if I would have, because I have 3 bikes and I'm probably looking for my 4th bike. I don't think I would have traded up. I think this is a dramatic improvement in every little and in small little details. Obviously, the most big it was the engine, but as far as it's just little improvement. It's just evolution. It's not revolution. It's evolution. And I know the styling, it means a lot because most people buy bikes on styling and emotion. I do all the time. But I like the way it looks. It's a little bit smaller. It's definitely more of a sport touring bike than an adventure bike. You have to get the GSA for that. I just think they're both great bikes in their own way. And it's an evolution. And you either like it or you don't. I know, I'm not a big fan of that green color one. I think the white one, I think they missed the boat. I think the white is okay, but I don't think they put the right trim on it to make it the white look real nice. It just looks so bland. And obviously the black one I like. I do like the red, white, and blue one. That's really nice. If he had one in there, I might have gone that way, but I like the black, and I want to go with that theme of everything murdered out. I'm going to black out as much as I can. They finally shipped the screen, so hopefully I'll have this next week. And then I don't know what else I'm going to do aesthetically, but that's going to have my look the way I want it. So, guys, yeah, the 1250, 1300, which is better? I'm thinking the 1300 is better, but it's just a matter of, what you feel like. And I know it's been out 1250, 1200 over 20 years, same bike. So it's hard, I mean, people complain about this light, that it's ugly, but really, the asymmetrical light, was that an attractive light? No, it kind of grew on you, and it became a GS. Just like this, in 10 years, it's going to be the GS, and those are just going to be kind of forgotten. That's just the way it is. Everything in life is just, you'll see it on the internet, but it's not going to be the bike you're going to see a lot. You're going to see these. And whether you like it or not, that's up to you guys. I'm all into doing change. Yeah, I'd love to go back, but you can't. So you have to accept it, and I accept it. And I'm liking the bike. I really do. And there's no disappointment in the bike. People complain about the noise. It's no noisier than the old one. That's a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry, guys. And what's nice about this one, when you start it up in the morning, it's the same noise in the afternoon, or when you're riding all day. Where my 1250, the hotter it got, the noisier it got. Just because that's just the way it is. As far as the quick shifter is concerned, I think they're pretty equal, the quick shifters. This might be a little bit better in the higher gears. I think I've explained this to before. The first gear is so low, the ratio is so wide, it's hard to get that first and second gear shift smooth. So there's no improvement there as far as I'm concerned. But the overall bike, I think it's a better bike. I know some people are not going to agree with me, but I just think the 13's are a better bike, and so that's my take on it. It's not professional. A lot of guys will just sit there and, one for one and stuff like that. And it's just, I think overall it's a better bike, and looks are subjective. But we'll be back. Okay, guys. Yeah, time to roll. And we could just talk a little bit more about the comparison. Let's see what the temperature went up to. I've been here about 15 minutes. Let's see if shake this a little bit. Okay. I don't know. I guess they say you have to move it, or I don't know. I don't know what the deal with that is. Okay. That's a negative, guys, but okay. So, yeah, still 42 degrees. Well, it was 40 when I got here, I think, or 40, yeah. So it's gone up, and the sun's starting to pop out a little bit, which is kind of nice. It's definitely subjective, I guess, when it comes to the looks. There's no doubt about it. But I don't know, man. I just think it's just, the evolution is fine. It's just fine. I got to do I got to do a parking lot. Yeah, this thing. If you feel confident in making turns, you just keep that throttle going. No problem. It's the only thing that bothers me is if I'm like, this is easy to do because it's just easy to do because there's nothing around me. But when I'm doing a U-turn like on the street and the street drops off big time, I just kind of get worried because I keep looking at the drop off, and then where you look is where you're going to go. But this thing maneuvers it's just so easy to ride. And the 1250 was the same way. But yeah, getting back to the 1250. So guys, you let me know. You give me your opinion on it, and I'm a big boy. I can take it if you think it's that hideous, the new bike, and all the tech is just kind of meaningless, and it's just not worth the upgrade. It's more expensive. Yeah, it's more expensive, but I got a really good deal on mine. So, and I did on my 1250. So I had let's see. I would say it was about $4,000 difference. Over the 5-year period, which I guess with inflation, it's a little bit higher priced, but I took off in second. Man, this thing has got so much torque. I didn't even realize it. Yeah, I still think it's a good deal. I wasn't going to pay 30 out the door. There's just no way that was going to happen. I said to myself, if I can get this thing below 25, it's a buy, and it worked out good. So yeah, as I head home, because I just wanted to take a ride, and I'm only out for an hour today, which is fine. As long as I can get out for at least one ride a day. Well, I can't get every day, but at least I can get out. I'm happy. But yeah, so back to the question before I say goodbye. 1250, 1300. If you had your choice, would you, if cost wasn't an issue, if it wasn't a cost issue or anything, that you could just swap the 1250 for your 1300 or your 1200, whatever, would you do it? With all the internet, the forums, I mean, oh my God, the forums are amazing. That there's a lot of hate. I wouldn't say hate, but maybe it is hate. There's a lot of dislikes about the 1300, and the same with the YouTube. I mean, you have a good amount of people that like it, but this bike is such a lightning rod it's just like, it's very polarizing. It's one or the other. There's no middle ground. Okay, the 1300's, kind of good. No, I don't like it, or I like it. It's just, but I think that's I think that's the nature of anything when it has a new style. This style's been out for, the 1250s, 1200's been out for almost 20 years. It's hard to accept that change. And, I think it's for the better, but, that's me. That's just my opinion, and I'm all about, just accepting what's happening, which I can't change. I can't build bikes myself, so I have to accept it is what it is. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if this guy's going to let me go or not. So, yeah, no, he's not. So I'll have to go around him. But yeah, so... but no problem. So, yeah, it's inevitable. Change is inevitable, guys, and you either move on and go with it, or you just keep your old bike and you're happy with your old bike, which is absolutely fine. But it's just very, very polarizing on the forums and the internet. This platform with the GS, not the GSA, they tailored it for me. They absolutely tailored it for me. So I know I'm just one guy, but I'm happy about it. I was on the fence when they first came out, and I waited a year before I decided to bite, and I'm glad I did. I'm real happy I did. I don't think if you took one for a ride, you'd be disappointed, unless you're jaded in the fact that, you have a 1250, you don't want to move up. You'll find a reason why you don't like this bike. That's just the way life is. I've done it before in the past with different vehicles. You'll find a reason why you don't like something. But if you accept the evolution of the 1300, it's a great bike, and it'll do a lot of things, and for a lot of people. So I guess that's it, guys. It just popped in my head when I was riding. I don't really plan these out too well. And, tell me what you think. 1250, 1300, is one better than the other? Or I think the 1300 is better, guys. All right, guys, later.